truck sits abandoned on a desolate dirt road in rural Oklahoma. The air is eerily still, the sky overcast, casting a gray shadow over the dense, silent woods. Inside the truck, wallets, cell phones, and a stack of $32,000 in cash remain untouched, left behind as if time had frozen. The driver's seat is eerily pushed far forward, an odd detail for Bobby Jamison, who was over 6 feet tall. In the back seat, a malnourished dog shivers, waiting for its owners who vanished without a trace. No footprints, no drag marks, no signs of a struggle. Bobby, Sherilynn, and their 6-year-old daughter, Madyson, were searching for a new home in the mountains. But they never made it back. Days turned into weeks, then months. For years, no one knew where they had gone, until their remains were discovered in a remote forest 4 years later. What happened to the Jamison family? A tragic accident, or something far more sinister? Bobby Dale Jamison and his wife, Sherilynn, were not your average suburban couple. They had dreams of a quieter life, away from the chaos of the modern world. Together with their 6-year-old daughter, Madyson, they planned to move into the remote wilderness of the Sans Bois Mountains in Oklahoma, a place as breathtaking as it was unforgiving. To outsiders, the Jamisons seemed like any other small family looking for a fresh start. But beneath the surface, their lives were far from ordinary. Bobby had suffered a severe back injury years prior, leaving him unable to work and reliant on disability checks. This put financial strain on the family, making their dream of an off-the-grid lifestyle seem even more appealing. Sherilynn, on the other hand, was described as artistic but deeply emotional. She had a passion for painting, often expressing herself through dark and abstract artwork. Some who knew her mentioned she had struggled with depression and mood swings, which may have added tension to the already fragile household. Then there was little Madyson, an innocent, bright-eyed girl who adored her parents. She was the heart of the family, and in many ways, their reason for seeking a better life. Yet behind closed doors, the Jamisons were facing personal battles that would later fuel speculation about their disappearance. Their home life was reportedly troubled. Bobby and Sherilynn believed their house was haunted, so much so that Bobby had once approached their pastor, claiming he had seen spirits of a family inside their home. He even asked whether it was possible to obtain special bullets to fight off supernatural entities. Some dismissed it as paranoia, others saw it as a warning sign of deeper psychological distress. There were also reports that the couple had been involved in strange activities. Investigators later found a mysterious message painted on a storage container outside their home, written by Sherilynn. It read, "3 cats killed to date. Buy another cat and it will be found dead too." It was unclear what this message meant, but it added another layer of unease to their story. The Jamisons had also been in a legal battle with Bobby's father, Bob Dean Jamison, who Bobby accused of threatening his family and withholding money from him. Bobby even filed a protective order against his father, claiming he was a very dangerous man with connections to organized crime. Between financial struggles, personal conflicts, and an increasing obsession with the supernatural, the Jamison family seemed to be at a crossroads in their lives. But no one could have predicted what would happen next. On October 8, 2009, Bobby, Sherilynn, and Madyson packed up their truck and headed toward the mountains. They were supposedly on their way to view a plot of land. Land they hoped would be their new home, but they never returned. It was October 8, 2009. The Jamison family, Bobby, Sherilynn, and their 6-year-old daughter, Madyson, set off on what should have been a simple day trip. They were heading deep into the remote mountains of southeastern Oklahoma, near Red Oak, to scout land for their new home. A fresh start, away from the chaos of society. That morning, home security footage captured something unsettling. Bobby and Sherilynn moved in and out of their house, loading their truck in a robotic, almost trance-like manner. They didn't speak. They barely acknowledged each other. It was as if they were moving on autopilot. At one point, Bobby stopped and stared blankly at nothing, while Sherilynn carried a brown briefcase, something she almost never used. The footage later sparked theories. Were they being watched, under the influence of something? Or was there something far more sinister at play? Hours later, they arrived in the Sans Bois Mountains, an isolated wilderness of dense forests stretching for miles. Their truck was parked along a dirt road, and they set off on foot. It was the last time anyone would ever see them. Days passed. No one heard from them. Calls to their phones went straight to voicemail. At first, family members weren't alarmed. Maybe they were just camping or out of signal range. But when days turned into a week, worry turned into fear. Then on October 16th, 8 days after they vanished, hunters stumbled upon something chilling. A white pickup truck, abandoned in the middle of nowhere. The doors were unlocked. Inside, everything was untouched. Wallets, IDs, cell phones, a GPS device, and a bank bag containing $32,000 in cash. And in the back seat, barely clinging to life, was Maisie, their family dog. She had been trapped there for over a week, starving, dehydrated, but still waiting for her owners to return. Investigators arrived and found the scene even more perplexing. There were no signs of a struggle, no footprints leading away, no drag marks, no scattered belongings. It was as if the Jamisons had simply vanished into thin air. Using the truck's GPS, authorities traced the family's movements deeper into the wilderness. They found a set of footprints, one large, one small, leading into the woods. But then, just as suddenly as they appeared, the tracks stopped. No sign of where they had gone next. Search teams combed through miles of rough terrain. Helicopters, tracking dogs, and ground crews scoured the area for weeks. But nothing. No bodies. No clues. No answers. The case went cold. For years, the only thing left behind was their abandoned truck, a haunting reminder of a mystery that defied explanation. Had they walked away willingly? Were they running from something? Or had they encountered something far more sinister? Then, 4 years later, in 2013, deep in the woods, just 3 miles from where their truck was found, a hiker stumbled upon something horrifying, a partial human skull. Authorities arrived and uncovered 3 sets of skeletal remains, lying side by side in the dirt. The Jamison family had finally been found. But instead of answers, the discovery only raised more questions. There was no cause of death, no signs of trauma, no explanation. The bodies had been exposed to the elements for years, erasing any potential evidence. Had they simply gotten lost and succumbed to the wilderness? Or was there something far more sinister behind their deaths? To this day, no one knows the truth. The discovery of the Jamison family's remains in 2013 should have brought closure. Instead, it only deepened the mystery. Their bodies lay in the woods for years untouched, yet there was no sign of trauma, no gunshot wounds, no broken bones, nothing that could explain how they died. The case remains unsolved, and over the years, numerous theories have emerged, each one offering a possible answer, yet none fully explaining the bizarre circumstances surrounding their disappearance. In the months leading up to their disappearance, the Jamison family was in turmoil. Bobby suffered from severe back pain due to a car accident, which left him unable to work. Sherilynn battled depression. Their finances were strained and tensions were high. Some investigators theorized that one of them, perhaps Bobby or Sherilynn, snapped. Maybe an argument turned violent. Maybe it was planned. Sherilynn's mother even claimed her daughter once kept a handgun for protection and suggested she could have used it against Bobby. But if this were a murder-suicide, why was no weapon ever found near their bodies? Why would they leave their truck, their money, and all their belongings behind? And why did it take 4 years for their remains to be discovered in an area that had been searched before? There was another chilling detail that led some to believe the Jamisons were involved in something dangerous. Investigators found a crumpled note in their truck, written by Sherilynn, a scathing 11-page letter filled with anger toward Bobby. It suggested deep resentment and instability. Then there was the $32,000 in cash left in the truck. Why would a struggling family carry that much money? Some believed they were meeting someone in the mountains for a deal, perhaps involving drugs. Meth use was rampant in rural Oklahoma, and abandoned vehicles in remote areas often pointed to cartel activity. But again, if they were meeting someone for a deal, why was the money left behind? Why was there no evidence of a struggle? Wouldn't a criminal have taken everything of value? Bobby Jamison had a complicated relationship with his father, Bob Dean Jamison. Bobby had filed a restraining order against him, claiming he was dangerous, involved in criminal activity, and had threatened to kill them. Could Bob Dean Jamison have arranged their murders? Some believe so. He was a powerful man with alleged ties to the criminal underworld, but others doubt this theory, pointing out that he was sick and died 2 months after the family vanished. If he had ordered a hit, why wasn't there any sign of a violent encounter? Why weren't their bodies found sooner? Did his death prevent the truth from ever coming out? Some investigators were disturbed by the eerie details surrounding the Jamisons' lives. Sherilynn was reportedly interested in witchcraft, and at one point, she had painted strange messages on their storage container. Friends recalled she would often talk about spirits and dark energy. Bobby, on the other hand, became obsessed with the idea of spiritual warfare, believing his home was haunted by malevolent forces. He even confided in his pastor that he had purchased a special bullet to kill ghosts, a bizarre detail that many dismissed as paranoia. But what if it wasn't just paranoia? The region where they disappeared has long been associated with occult activity and legends of shadowy groups operating in the mountains. Some theorists believe the Jamisons may have encountered a cult that lured them to their deaths. Others speculate they willingly participated in a ritual that ended in tragedy. If so, why was there no evidence of a ceremony or ritualistic markings near their remains? Then there's the most chilling theory of all. The security footage from the Jamisons' home, the last known footage of them alive, shows them moving in a trance-like state, repeatedly walking in and out of their house without speaking to each other, without showing emotion. Some paranormal enthusiasts claim this was evidence of possession, that dark forces had taken hold of them, leading them into the woods where they would ultimately perish. Then there's the strange footprints found near the area where their truck was abandoned. Tracks that seemed to lead into the woods and then simply stopped. Were they following something, or was something following them? Of all the theories, the simplest one suggests the Jamisons got lost. The Sans Bois Mountains are treacherous, dense, disorienting, and filled with dangerous wildlife. It's possible they wandered too far from their truck, became lost, and eventually succumbed to exposure or dehydration. But even this theory has holes. If they died naturally, why weren't their bodies found during the initial search? How did they end up just 3 miles from their truck, an area that had been combed over multiple times? Why were their remains found years later when the terrain hadn't changed significantly? So, what really happened? 6 theories, 6 possible explanations, yet none that fully explain the mystery. Did the Jamisons walk into the wilderness of their own free will, only to meet their fate by accident? Were they victims of a crime, perhaps a revenge killing, a drug deal gone wrong, or something even more sinister? Or is there something far stranger at play? In the end, their deaths remain as unexplained as their disappearance. No arrests, no confessions, no answers. Just an abandoned truck, a family that vanished, and a case that, to this day, refuses to be solved. The case of the Jamison family is a haunting mystery that still leaves more questions than answers. What do you think happened to them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into true crime, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us bring more cases like this to you. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep questioning the unknown.